and so they're more investing in me. You know,
and they know that
now because I'm fucking 10 years in the game.
Yeah.
I see it all the time in the beginning. People partner up with people they should never partner with.
Just because they need that money.
Yeah, because they need the money. Just start small. Start small. Well, our first event, we had 2,000. I think we made 2,300 on that event. Yeah, so I rolled into the next event with 4,300. I made 8,800 on that event. I had 13-1, I believe, when I started my first MMA show. At my first MMA show, I think I made like 1,700 on that, and that put my total up to like 15. And then I had a huge tournament, and I made 22. Then I was sitting at like 40,000, and that's when I got fired from 24 Hour Fitness. And then I sued them, and I got like 18 months of salary, and so I was fucking gold.
Yeah,
you know.
Set, yeah.
And then
Good to go? We're rolling, yeah. All right. This is the Ask the BCE Show, episode 40. I almost said it was like 38. Episode 40. I'm your host, Kurt Belding, and I am the Blue Collar Entrepreneur. I have a guest today, Mr. Seth Daniels. Seth Daniels, Seth owns Fight to Win, and we go way back.
Way back.
We like 15 years?
Yeah, just about.
About 15 years. And we knew each other when we were both just nothing, starting from nothing, pretty much, you know. Yeah. So let's get to know Seth. Tell us real quick what you're doing now with like Fight to Win and all that stuff.
I run the largest professional jiu-jitsu league in the world. And so essentially what we do is every weekend we travel, you know, from Philly, Dallas, New York, LA, San Francisco, all over the country doing these professional jiu-jitsu events, which is essentially kind of a mixture between what you would expect at an MMA show, but mixed with a rock concert.
Yeah,
so
that sounds good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's like I always say, it's kind of like the culmination of everything I've ever done in my life, right? So it's like there's like a huge production piece that I learned from the concert world, and then the way of running the MMA business that I did for 10 years when I was promoting fights, and then my true passion of what I love is grappling, and so I just put the three things together that I liked, and then I've been in business person since I was 9 years old, so. It's a tough business just because we're required to do so much because our schedule is so busy. We're putting on about 40 events a year. And so there's very little downtime.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot because it's all over the world. So, or all over the United States, including Hawaii. So it's just a lot of work. You have to stay on top of it like all the time. It's a little exhausting, but yeah, I mean, I love what I do. And, every weekend we'll pull about 1,000, 1,400 attendees, per show, and paying out athletes, anywhere in the range of $30,000 to $40,000 a week, Yeah. So it's like, it really revolutionized the sport of jiu-jitsu, what we do. And now we have, like I'm sure you have with your businesses, Kmart copycats trying to do what we do all over. So it's actually like, I hate them all and I hope they all go out of business and burn. But, it helps me keep on my toes and make sure that I'm always outworking everyone and that I'm always the best.
But if someone's copycatting you, there has to be some pride there to say, yeah, I'm the best. You guys are trying to be like me.
Nah, I want them all just to burn.
You just want to do them all to die,
right? No, I mean, like my thing is like, if you're gonna do anything, like if it's not original, then don't even fucking do it.
Right.
Like you're gonna copy someone else's business, which I'm sure you get a lot in the supplement world. Like,
yeah.
Do something different with it. You did it different with Fit Republic, and that's why you've grown so much. The people that copy someone else and try to create that don't do anything new, they're always going to fail because it wasn't their idea in the first fucking place.
Right. And it won't be as good as the original. Anyway.
It never will be. The original's always the best, especially when the original continues to grow. And I do think that's one of the things that fucks people is like when they get, they get satisfied with where they're at and they don't continue to try to improve all the time and think that, we're so good, like we don't have to do shit. Like you always have to improve.
Oh, yeah.
My goal with my events is every time I go back, no matter where I'm at, if I go back to Philly, I go to Philly 3 times a year. It's my favorite place. And, which is kind of a funny story, but I go to Philly 3 times a year, and every time I go back, show's got to be better than it was the time before. Every single time.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
No,
there's no staying the same.
No, you can't. You can't. But that's what I do now. Travel the United States, putting on professional jiu-jitsu events and exposing the world to to a sport that they may not have seen, and a light, and creating a spotlight for these athletes that never had one before.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like the sport's getting a lot bigger and more main stage because MMA obviously is huge. You know, we see that everywhere, boxing, but grappling. I didn't really know much about it until I met you, and I went to your first. I don't know if that was your first.
Yeah,
or the first
that was my first event.
Yeah.
So Kurt was my first ever sponsor ever for Fight to Win.
Bought a $200 table.
$200 vendor
That's all I
table.
could afford.
I put and your business at the time was called the Nutrition Stop.
It was Nutrition Zone.
Nutrition Zone.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even important enough for me to remember.
It's not.
But you know, at the time, that event cost me. I had $2,000 total to put that event on, and so I mean, your $200 was 10% of my nut to hit at that event. So I mean, like, it's funny to think back at it and be like, oh, it's all I had. It's like that was a big deal for me. Mm-hmm. Like I remember, I picked up a clothing sponsor. You probably remember that 5280 fighter.
I remember that. They
Ryan.
were there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan.
Yeah.
I picked him up, and I remember he gave me like $400 for one of my, and I remember being like, "Oh, this is such a big deal," and he's like, "It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's $400." I was like, "You don't understand. Like, when you're first starting and someone's willing to, you know, believe in you and give you something like that, like it goes a long way." That's why I never forgot, you know. Yeah. And our first tournament we ever had, we only had 88 people, and I think about half of them were free. Our tournaments now average about 1,500. People, you know, and like I said, our crowds are around 1,200 per weekend, you know, but I mean, in the beginning, it was really hard. You know, the hardest part, I think, of any business in the beginning is getting people to believe in what you're doing.
Getting them to see the vision that you have.
Because everybody wants a proven concept.
Yeah. Well, show me the numbers, show me the money that's being made.
Show me the numbers, show me the money. How many people are going to be there? And you're like, I don't fucking know. It's my first event. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I'm begging people to just come. Yeah. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, you know, and I wouldn't say I'm lucky at all. Like, people say that all the time. I worked fucking hard. Mm-hmm. You know, I started Fight to Win when I was the general manager at 24 Hour Fitness.
Yeah. I watched you work hard, man.
Yeah. I mean, they demoted me. They demoted me from a district manager to a general manager. And that was when we restructured to 24 Hour Fitness. And so I was just like, well, fuck these guys. I'm going to collect a salary from these motherfuckers and then build my own business until they figure it out and kick me out. That's exactly what happened. And then I fucking sued their asses for wrongful termination. And then when that money I got from wrongful termination lawsuit is what funded Fight to Win.
So thank you, 24 Hour Fitness, for
fucking
funding Fight to Win.
Yeah, no, man. Like, they do that company, man. They treated us like shit for so long, and like everything. Like, there's no one that works there now that worked there when I was there. Mm-mm. Everyone's gone.
A lot of people have branched off and done their own gyms.
Yeah, done that. But a lot of people have been wildly successful that came out of there. Mm-hmm. You know, own their own businesses, run their own shit. Very successful in real estate because they learned how to work hard. Mm-hmm. You know, and I had that kid Mike that used to work for me. He wound up being the fucking president of 24 Hour Fitness.
No shit.
Yeah, he was the president of 24 Hour Fitness. Right? Yeah. And now I think he's doing some real estate stuff, and I'm sure he's crushing it. Yeah. But it's like, it's funny when you work for a business like that, where it's like, we did get trained and developed pretty well. That's one thing I can say about that place. Yeah. But they worked us to the grind. And so it's like, you're putting in 80, 90 hours a week in order to maybe hit your goal. To maybe take home, because if you don't hit, you're making $2,000. That's it. That's all we were making. But if you hit, you can make 20. So it was like, you kill yourself to fucking hit, and then you get out of the business, and it's like, okay, no one's telling me what to do now, but I still have that same work ethic. Mm-hmm. It's still ingrained in you. Mm-hmm. And so you put it into your own business, and then you can find the success, or you find failure. Right. You know what I mean? Either way, but at least, you know, work gets done.
Yeah. I just want to highlight what you said about where you started, the first comp that you held, right? Like, you were just begging people to show up. Yeah. And now, 12 years, 15 years later.
No, it's been 11 years since it started. Yeah, 11 years since it started. And yeah, the events have grown. Just the local tournaments have grown to about 7 times the size. No, I'm sorry, not 7, 15 times the size of what they were back then. And they've gone down a little bit because the market's become really oversaturated with other people. And I don't put as much into those tournaments anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm more into the giving people money at my events than taking it away from them. But I do provide a good product, and I only do them in Colorado now, just because, like, I want my friends and teammates to have a good place to compete at. But other than that, it's just the pro event. That's all I do.
For sure.
But I mean, I think that's one of the things in the beginning too. no matter what business that you're starting, is I don't think you should ever take money from anyone, especially in the beginning. Like never
Do
take
a lot of shit for
never
free,
take
man.
investor money, never, because then, especially if you have a vision, like, because they're just gonna fuck with your vision. Like
Well,
I'm looking at possibly doing some VC shit now, but it's like my vision is set, and anybody that like invests in me now, they know like no matter what they say, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're more investing in me. You know,
And they know that going into it.
oh yeah, now
Yeah.
because I'm fucking 10 years in the game.
Yeah.
I see it all the time in the beginning. People partner up with people they should never partner with.
Just because they need that money.
Yeah, because they need the money. Just start small. Start small. Our first event, we had 2,000. I think we made 2,300 on that event. Yeah, so I rolled into the next event with 4,300. I made 8,800 on that event. I had 13-1, I believe, when I started my first MMA show. At my first MMA show, I think I made like 1,700 on that, and that put my total up to like 15. And then I had a huge tournament. And I made 22. Then I was sitting at like 40,000, and that's when I got fired from the 24 Hour Fitness. And then I sued them, and I got like 18 months of salary, and so I was fucking gold.
Yeah,
you
you're
know.
set, yeah.
And then I started investing in my own company. So I started, instead of renting stuff, I just started buying stuff, and that has been the trend of what I've done forever. And that's one of the reasons I've been so successful financially, is because I don't rent anything ever. Like if I don't have to, like tables and chairs, that's it.
Right.
Because it's like, especially like if you're in the production business, like renting will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, you're always.
Or I
throwing
mean,
out
even
money.
if you're in a business like this, how much money would you be saving if you own this
Own the
building?
building, yeah.
If you
A
own
ton.
if you own this place versus renting it, you're going to get, you know, your lease ends up, and then they're going to juice your rate up, and you get nothing out of that lease.
And then you have
know?
an asset.
Yeah, you have an asset. And so, like, our whole business, like, it's not like I'm sitting on, you know, I'm not taking baths like in DuckTales. You know, what's his name? Was it Scrooge No, it wasn't Scrooge McDuck. What was his name? Remember in DuckTales? Motherfucker
yeah, where
always
he's
taking
bathing
bath
in
in
his
gold.
money.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's a dream of mine,
Yeah.
you know? But I'm also, like, afraid, like, there might be some fake gold in there, so I have, like, green all over my body afterwards. No, I'm just saying, like, we're definitely not, like, swimming in money, but we've constantly invested, and we've constantly grown our business and continually to build our assets.
And that's being a smart entrepreneur. Because if you're not going to grow and you're going to die.
But, yeah, you got to do it one piece at a time. I think a lot of people screw up. And they're like,
Go too
"Oh,
big
I
too
want to be,
fast."
I want to be here." Right? You see Transformers 3?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a scene with John Malkovich where he's talking to Sam Witwicky, and he tells him, I watch, I'm like a movie addict, so like I'm gonna reference movies. That's kind of my thing. He tells him, he's like, you're upset because this isn't the job you want, but this is the job you need to get the job you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
And that's kind of how I see every step of my business. You know,
Right.
I just ran the biggest grappling event in history of the world, right? And if I would have tried to do that 4 years ago, I would have failed miserably. Like, everything happens for a reason, and it happens when you're ready to make it happen. You can't force business.
You can't.
You can't, because you're gonna fail because you're not ready for it.
Yeah. And failure is equal to your success.
I
also.
failed so many fucking times.
Yeah.
I have so many businesses that I've created that have gone out of business. I had an MMA company. I had a food delivery company. I had a concert business. I had a tattoo shop. I've invested in so many different things. I went bankrupt investing in real estate, you know, because you see a movie, The Big Short?
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
That was it, huh?
6 houses.
Oh, shit.
And it was easy. You know, you buy the house,
Yeah.
you know,
Small down payment.
on the arm for nothing down. You wait 6 months, you take the money out of that, then you buy your next house. And I did that for like 3 years, and I had like 6 houses. And then, you know, they were always like, "Oh, you'll be able to refinance once before the adjustable rate kicks in." And then I didn't do that. And because I couldn't, because the value of the houses all went down, so there was no money to pull out of the houses. And so, I mean, like, just like everybody else in America, you know, 1 million people in America went bankrupt on their homes.
Yep.
I went bankrupt on 6, so, you know, I had to wind up starting at 0 again, and that was after I'd already like been successful with Fight to Win. I had to file bankruptcy, and I started again in like 2010 at 0.
Yep.
So, but I had an existing business, so I like literally like grind off my business, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when we made the transition from the concert world to the MMA or to the jiu-jitsu world completely, we fucking went all in, just because I knew it would work. After the first 4 shows, I knew it was going to be successful, and I had $327 in my bank account before Fight to Win 6. Because there was just some stuff I was renting, and I was like, this is fucking crazy. I'm spending $12,000 a week on these rentals. I was like, how much is it going to cost to buy this stuff? And they were like, it's going to cost $100,000. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah,
and it's everything I had. I just went all in, bought everything, and then like, you know, we hit, and then it's like, you know, you start seeing it. It's like, all right, well, in 3 months I made back all the money, you know, and now we're at a point where there's literally nothing that's not owned, you know, which is huge plus.
Yeah, and you're at a point you just got done with the biggest event in history, which was at least 4,000 spectators, and how many?
It was 8,000 total.
8,000?
Yeah, 4,000 each day. And our sport's a niche sport, so it's not like MMA.
Yeah.
You know, the reason that jiu-jitsu and grappling is growing so much, in my opinion, is because MMA has become so watered down, right? So it's like everybody fights the same. Like there's a few people out there that are different. Like this Israel Asanya kid that just won the title, right? Like he's a showman and he's exciting and he's from some fucking weird country. Yeah. I don't even know where he's from. He's from Africa or somewhere, or I don't know. I haven't. I like him a lot, but I haven't researched too much on him. But there's diamonds in the rough in MMA, but for the most part, everybody, it's the same thing. Punch, take down, lay on top of him, hit him. And if you're a fan watching that, especially if you go to like a local show or you go to the UFC, you're 40 years old. You're not going to go in there and be like, I could do that. There's no fucking way. I'm not going to go. No way. There's no way. Maybe if you're 19 and you just got wrestled D1, you got out.
Right, if I grew up wrestling. And,
you would look at it. Jiu-jitsu, people come to my events. I have a 70-year-old guy up there fighting on the stage. I have a 9-year-old kid. They think I could do that. I could get that spotlight. This is cool, and I'm not going to get hit in the fucking face.
Yeah,
you know when people are like, "Oh, I love getting punched in the face." No, you fucking don't. That shit stings. It hurts. I don't care what anybody says.
It fucks your brain up too.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's one of the reasons jiu-jitsu and grappling's got so popular, because you can be lazy. You can fucking smoke a ton of weed and just go out there and practice. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. Take everything at your own pace. And it's a pretty gentle sport, even though, I mean, you're like trying to break each other's limbs on your body compared to, you know, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like it's definitely the easy way out if you're going to pick a martial art. But, I mean, it also makes you a lethal motherfucker.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I usually walk in a room knowing that I could, like, beat up everyone in the room.
Let's not try, okay?
No, I'm just saying, but it's a comforting feeling to know that, like, if you're in a bad situation, you can defend yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but I mean, even a purple belt, if there was a fight, or even a blue belt, man, if there was a fight in a bar in like Denver and somehow you got involved in it, you could probably submit the two guys fighting. Mm-hmm. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. And you never hear stories about like jiu-jitsu guys starting the fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like, it's because it teaches you a lot about like, I mean, I'm not saying like respect and honor. I'm sure it does all that. For me, it just taught me how to fucking choke people. But for a lot of people, it teaches you. It requires an extremely large amount of discipline in order to progress, and work ethic and drive. And it's because it gets depressing a lot of times where you're just like, God, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting it. It just takes time. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those things where people message and like, how do I get better faster? It's like, just fucking show up to practice.
Gotta keep fucking working.
You gotta go. Yeah, just go to practice. You know what I mean? And so I think it's anybody can do jiu-jitsu, and from, you know, 4 years old to, we have a guy at our gym I think he's 82, and he trains like every single day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was a former like power lifter, and he's a strong motherfucker, but he's old as shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And most 82-year-olds don't have fucking six packs.
No, I guarantee that. You know? Yeah, well, I guarantee
they're
not doing MMA or boxing.
He's definitely killing it at the nursing home. But,
they pulling some ass at the nursing home.
Silver
sneakers. Yeah,
whatever. But no, but I mean, it's just one of those sports. I think people gravitate to it because everybody can do it.
Yeah, it is open up to a lot of demographics, a lot of ages and stuff like that. So, and that's one thing, you know, and I've been obviously I watch, man. I see what you've been doing because we met a long time ago, man. I always had a lot of respect for you from day one, our first conversation. You're like, you came over to my shop and you're like, hey, 24-Hour Fitness wants me to put you out of business, but I like you, so here, I'm gonna help you out. Yeah,
they wanted me to crush you.
Yeah, did you crush me? You're like, here, go fly in my parking lot. Yeah, which it's a ton of respect, and I've been watching you. And one thing, the biggest thing I respect is your work ethic, man. You're a goddamn workhorse, like just grinding for years. And I'm the similar way, man. I just fucking work like 15 hours a day, every day. That's just what I do. I love it. which I'm a little tweaked, but
Yeah.
where'd
You probably
that
the same
come from,
problem.
man?
Well, I mean, I think
How'd you grow up?
Well, I think a lot of it honestly comes from work addiction, which is like a disease that we both probably have.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I grew up as an athlete. I did judo. So I was a 10-time junior national champion in judo, and I was a high school state wrestling champion.
Dang.
In business, when I was 9, I started my own baseball card and comic book business.
Entrepreneur from birth, right?
So I would, I would hustle kids in the neighborhood out of their shit. And then on the weekends, I would set up booths at trade shows. And I was like, even at 9, 10 years old, I was pulling like $300 a weekend, you know? And when you're 9 years old,
$300 is
like
a lot of
everybody
money.
used to say, I think I sold drugs when I was like 10. I didn't even know what the fuck drugs were. You know what I mean? Like, you show me cocaine. I had no idea what that is, or weed. I had a kid, I remember I sold a bag of mulch to when I was 13 and told him it was weed, and he bought it and opened it up and was like, that's good weed. And I was like, I don't fucking know what this shit is, you know?
Just some grass.
Good old Kevin Pauly. But I'll never forget that. I made $40 off that. No, but I used to hustle him out of cards too. But no, so like everybody, I figured the business of the card game like really easily. And it was like the businesses, people like to buy packs of cards, right?
Right.
Because it's gambling, right?
You never know what you're going to get.
Well, I would never fucking do that shit because I never gambled. So like my whole thing was like just getting the elite stuff, the stuff everybody wanted, I would just get. And so it was a pretty modest setup, but I crushed it. And I did that from the time I was 9 till I was 17. Like every weekend that I wasn't competing, I would go to a trade show, I would set up, I would sell baseball cards and comic books. And back then that was a good business. It was a really good business.
That.
And then it all crumbled in I think like 98, 99, I think it was, when that whole industry just fucking got destroyed because they got greedy. There's a lot of really good documentaries about that, by the way. But, you know, and then the comic book industry actually flourished during that time. So when the baseball card industry and basketball cards and all that stuff got overproduced by Topps and Pinnacle and Upper Deck and all that stuff, that was when Marvel started making their movies. So people, I don't think, actually read comic books.
I never did, man. I
never
read shit as a
read
kid.
them, but collecting them was a big thing. And my dad had this massive collection. He has like Showcase number 4, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man, and he had Green Lantern number 1. He had Amazing Comic Books number 1, which is the first appearance of Superman. There's only like fucking 4 of those left in the world. And so we had like these amazing comic books, right? And me and my dad don't get along or anything, but like that business, we ran that business together, and that was like one of the only things that we did together that I would say was like a highlight of my childhood. But you know, it was cool because I'd have like an Action Comic number 1 like on display, so everybody would come to my table, you know. But no, I killed it, man. I did that shit, and that's like how I had all my money growing up, you know. It was just like everybody was always begging their parents for money, and I had a bank account with like $30,000 in it like my whole life, you know, because I worked hard, you know. When they were playing video games, I was organizing cards, you know, or I was having poker tournaments at my house and scamming kids out of cards because that's how we would bet.
Which kind of reinforces. I think this. Yeah.
You bet with cards because we didn't have any. There was no money, so you play blackjack or you play poker, or we would gamble on, you know, playing basketball in the streets and all that stuff. And I was always the house, so I was always like, yeah, you're coming to my house, like you gotta give me, you know, at least $100 worth of stuff just to come in and stuff like that. So I was always the house, so I always won.
Yeah, always win on the juice. And one thing that I say a lot, and here's my honest beliefs. I'm curious on your opinion on it. Is I think entrepreneurship, like true entrepreneurship, you're born that way. I don't think you can't just become that. I don't think so. I've seen so many people, because entrepreneurship's super glorified right now. Like everyone says they're an entrepreneur, Instagram entrepreneur. Like, first of all, come on, did you start an LLC? Now you call yourself like, you know, there's a lot of bullshit.
It's a very thrown around word.
Yeah.
You know, it's thrown around a lot, but I don't know. I think that everybody's different. You know, I would say that my wife has become an entrepreneur and through a business, and she is not someone that's business minded normally. Yeah. But she's done she's into like, you know, the motivational stuff, and she learns and operates what she learns and takes it on her own path. I'm not like that. After high school, I moved up to the Olympic Training Center and to train there, and I blew out both my shoulders like the first 2 months I was there. So I had surgery, and during that time I was working at 24 Hour Fitness. So I was like, chasing the Olympic dream and working really hard to do that. And then that got taken away from me. And so I just channeled it all into 24-hour fitness. I was 19 years old as a personal trainer. I made $60,000. So you're 19 years old. I was driving, like, I had a Corvette convertible, which I couldn't drive in Colorado. I didn't know that, but I was like brand new. Like, I had a dope ass Corvette. I had big ass house, and it was just, I couldn't imagine going back to the life of an athlete because I was so addicted to the money and the praise you get from being successful.
Sure.
You know, and which I think is a huge part of the work addiction. But you know, so after that, you know, I moved into sales at 24-hour fitness. I was a top salesperson for the company for 6 years. I was pulling like $250 a year, you know, but you know, my lifestyle was about $255 a year.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I tell that all the time. It's really, I had a manager that used to always tell me, is like, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
That's right.
You know, and so it's like, if I could have made fucking $5,000 a year and been in the same place, but I was putting 100 hours a week into it. But I had a lot of fun. We partied really hard, and we had some really cool toys, which all got taken away eventually. But you know, I did that for like 8 years, and then you know, started Fight to Win, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, man. You know, and you said earlier that at some point you got sued. Was it a lawsuit? Is that what we got? Filed bankruptcy?
I filed bankruptcy because of the housing market.
Tell me about that, going through that, man, because most people would have just given up. You know what I mean? Like, most people out there that gets kicked in the face like that would have just gave up.
You know, I mean, I think it's like you said about failures. You know, I think there's some motivational quote out there that's like, your failures become your successes. Or, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't ever read those. But for me, it was I just when I was 23 years old, when I was selling, I was making like $200,000 a year, but I had no money. And I remember I got to like a super low point where I was like really broke. I had like, you get scared when you get to like the grocery store and you put your credit card in, like if it's going to go through or not, you know? And this was like, I used to bounce checks at King Soopers, and I was literally making 2 bills a year, you know, but I had my living expenses were fucking insane, and I couldn't control it. And I remember like I put a fucking gun in my mouth and I wanted to kill myself because I was so broke. And it was so disheartening. And like, I just remember how low that felt. Like, my sister didn't want to talk to me because I had to borrow money from her. And that's like something I'd never do, you know, because it was just like, it's ridiculous. It was like, you're making all this money and you're fucking broke. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was blowing it all, you know what I mean? And it was just like, it was such a horrible feeling. Now, once I got to that point with the bankruptcy stuff, it's like that just moment of having that barrel in my mouth, like, always resonates in my head. And I just like, you can't quit. Like, you just have to say, fuck it. Like, I gotta grind. I gotta go. And that's one thing I always say to people that are like, oh, okay, you know, if they like bitch about not being able to get a job. I don't really hang out with anybody that doesn't have a job. But if they were to say that, I would just say, like, if you work hard enough, you can be successful in anything. If my company shut down tomorrow, I could go get a job as the front desk person at Arby's, and I'd be the president of the company in 6 months. I will outwork every single person that's there. I'll outwork them, and I'll be more successful. That's how it is, you know? And I think it's funny because Ray Lewis sent my son a video yesterday, and he told him, he said,
Ray Lewis.
Yeah. My son's like probably the best linebacker, one of the best linebackers at his age group in the country. He's definitely the best in the state. And he's just been sending stuff to Ray Lewis, and Ray Lewis sent this video back, and he just said, tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I believe he said, you got to outwork everybody on the football field, and you got to outwork everybody in every asset of your life, and that's how you're going to be successful. You got to outwork everyone. You got to grind if you want to be the best.
That's right.
And I feel like that's just how it is. You know, I remember when I was at 24 Fitness, there was that whole thing about working smart, not hard, or whatever. Give me a fucking smartest person in the world. You set him next to me for 5 hours, and I'll work next to him for 5 hours, and we'll see who gets further.
Right.
I don't care how fucking dumb I am or how smart somebody else is. I know I can beat them if I just work really hard.
Outwork them. Yeah.
That's just how I feel. Like, I get the whole work smart, not hard thing. I just like, I can't embrace that because I feel like we're all smart at what we do in some way, shape, or form. You know, I might not have a college degree or know how to operate Instagram Live, but I can, you know what I mean? I can get a job done and be successful at it. We're all good at certain things. You know, it's like my company, there's 11 of us that work for my company, and there's 4 of us that have technical jobs. So I do the matchmaking and promoting. I have this woman named Missy that does all the logistics. So like the ticketing, travel, and all that stuff. I have a guy that cuts and edits all the videos, and I have a production manager that creates the vision of the lighting, right? If I tried to do all of that by myself, I would fail miserably.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm able to delegate, which is really hard to do.
Give up that control.
To give up anything is really hard. And I'm dealing with that now with these VCs. They want to put someone in place to take away stuff. And I'm just like, it's like the thing that scares me most. But eventually you always wind up doing it. Once you build up enough trust with somebody and you can hand them something and then they do a good job at it, then you can trust that they're going to be able to get it done. And that's where I'm at now. It's one of those things where, you're only as good as your team that surrounds you.
Absolutely.
Like, because one person can't do everything. I mean, look at fucking Matt Stafford for Detroit. The kid's a stud, and he made the playoffs once.
Right.
His team sucks. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. You got to have good people around you. And in my business, I'm at that point now where back in the day, I used to be there at 8 a.m. until the final bell is over. First one in, last one out, making sure everything got done perfectly. Now I fucking work in my hotel room and watch Friends all day, and I show up an hour before the show and do my job.
Yeah.
No, I work during the show. During the show, I'm the VJ, I'm the DJ,
Oh, okay.
I'm the announcer. I time the lighting. Like, I do a lot during the show, but most of my work is done prior to the event. It's all matchmaking and marketing. So once it's showtime, that's the fun time for me.
Yeah.
Where I get to see the people I put together fight, and I get to see the people in the crowd have fun. That's like my time.
That would be a good
But
feeling, man.
but
Cool.
I'm at that point now where it's like, Evan, the production manager, he doesn't even like me coming there until an hour before the show because it's hard for me not to micromanage people. But once you get your business to that point where you can, you own 8 different stores, like that would fucking crush me. Like when I was a district manager,
If you're doing it on your own.
I had 17 gyms when I was a district manager in the beginning and before it went down to 9. And it was just like, all right, these 3 stores are killing it, but these 6 stores are run by fucktards. And I can't. It was just like you couldn't trust. Like I could never develop that team that was just like a solid 9 people that I could trust to run businesses. It was always so stressful. And I'm in that point now where I can trust everybody that works for me to get their job done, and that's a fucking beautiful place to be at.
Yeah, I mean you've had to do a lot of work to get there too.
I've gone through a lot of people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I spaghetti hired my staff like I did at 24 Hour Fitness. I used to just hire 10 people at a time and be like, the first day, just go put out 10,000 flyers. Half of them would come back. So now you have 5. The next day, make 300 phone calls. 3 of them come back. And it would be like I would go from 10 to 1, and then the 1 is who I would put. I would literally just make their life hell for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't teach them anything. I wouldn't waste my time because they're just going to quit anyways.
Yeah.
Just paying them $8 an hour to go put out flyers or go smoke weed in their car. I can figure it out. If they're, they come back with farmer's tans, I know who actually did what I told them they were going to do.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it was really easy to weed out the week at 24 Hour Fitness, but they literally will hire anybody. Like that was their thing. It was just like, just whatever. It doesn't cost shit to onboard people. So just bring them on and then we'll just get rid of them. They quit themselves. But with this business, I'm real picky about who I bring on. So it's like, I have people that work for me that are from all over the country, and it's like, I get a vibe from them. Like because you can't just like jiu-jitsu to work, because you have to be able to work for a 20-hour period without sleep. So,
Jesus.
So basically what we do, and that's why I tell people all the time when they ask me, like, if they can, they want to do the job. And I'm like, it's just like the fun stuff you see isn't what the work is. It's like we wake up, our normal week is we wake up at Thursday morning. Usually have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get to the airport for a 5 a.m. flight. And then we arrive in the city around 8 o'clock, go straight to the venue, work on the show. Weigh-ins are at 6. They get off at 8. Crew works till 9. Uber Eat and food or whatever, because we don't do restaurants. We just do Uber Eats, because if you go to a restaurant, they order more expensive shit. And then, at 9 o'clock, everybody goes to their hotel rooms, back up at 8 a.m., work until the show's completely torn down, which is around 4 a.m., hop into a shower, go to the airport, and get a 5 a.m. flight home, 6 a.m. flight home. It's 48 hours. Yeah, that's what we do. And people are like, oh, I can do that. And then you do it once.
40 times?
Fucking dead.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. We have 60,000 pounds of production equipment.
Jesus.
And all of it's lifted by hand. So it's like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of grinding, you know? And, you know, so I mean, that's just how the job is. And that's just, that's what it is, you know?
Well, we got some questions, man. We better jump into some
Sure.
questions before we go too long here. Kayla, you got some questions for us?
We have, this is for Seth. How do you balance your business and family life, especially with being on the road all the time?
Well, like I just said, I'm only on the road 48 hours a week. So, it's still hard though. My wife helps me a ton. And I feel weird calling him my roommate. You know, because I'm married, I have 3 kids and 3 dogs and a cat. But, we have a pretty big house, and it's like a downstairs apartment set up. So it's just weird for me to call him a roommate because it's like
your tenant.
It's a little different. But anyways, he's my video guy, and he helps me a ton with the kids. So like, because my kids are really active, they all have sports. So usually, Joel or Lauren will take the kids to the sports, and I work like all fucking day and night. And then like they come and hang out with me in the basement. I've got this weird nerve problem where like if my body heat rises a certain amount, I get like pins and needles from my whole body since my neck surgery. So like I have to be in a cold environment all the time, which is super weird. And I'm really excited that it's going to snow tomorrow. You know, but it's hard balancing the family. This is going to sound weird. Luckily, I'm divorced from my first wife, I have 2 kids with. So I'm really not missing out on that much time with them because they're at their mom's
half the time,
anyways. And my 6-year-old, like, he hangs out with me in the basement like all the time. So I really don't feel like I miss that much. You know what I mean? But I think for a lot of people, it would be really hard. I'm just lucky that I'm in this situation I'm in. So, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit lucky on that one.
And that's one thing about entrepreneurship is a misconception that if you own a business and you're an entrepreneur, you can't have family life and family life suffers. That's not true, man. Like you can create anything you want. And I actually spend a ton of time with my family. Yeah. You know, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with your family and their acceptance of what you have to do in the life that it is. That's our life. That's what it is. I work a ton. They hang out with me while I work. You know, I don't like work in an office, so I think that's a huge plus. I work on a recliner, you know, and so it's like I'm always home. You know, I think if I had a real job, if I was working at 24 Hour Fitness, I would see my family less than I see them now.
Absolutely, guaranteed.
You know,
yeah. Or any real job, 9 to 5. Like there's times I can just go home and hang out with my family anytime I want.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever I want.
When you own your own business, but yeah.
If you own it correctly.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. All right, next one.
This is still for you. As a father, how do you keep your oldest son, Carter, humble? That kid's a beast. This is a 2-part question.
Well, yeah, he just got a message from Ray Lewis.
I don't want him to be humble. No, I mean, no. Carter has made every decision correctly so far in his life. For him, I've always put a lot of decision-making ability on him for him to decide what he wanted to do, even when he was little. Because we did like personal training with him when he was like 6 years old, 5 years old with Josh Caban. I don't know if you know who that is. He's an MMA fighter. It's funny because it's the first time he lost his first 2 teeth, he was doing sit-ups with a medicine ball and it came through his hands. And Josh like freaked out. They were already loose, but it was like that's how he lost his first 2 teeth. Yeah. But you know, Carter. He's just a great kid, you know. He's respects people and he's very sweet, you know. But when he's out there, he's a murderer, you know. He doesn't care about the well-being of other children and he has no problem crushing them, you know. He's got that mindset, you know. It's a unique mindset of you know. It's like I said, it's that work hard mindset. He works so hard and it's everything he's done his whole life. And I didn't do any of it for him. Like, I paid for the personal trainers and I pay for his linebacker coach and all that stuff. But he's the one that chooses to do it. And he's the one that chooses to buy in. He's the one that studies the game film. He's the one that did all this stuff, you know. And then I think one of the humbling things for him, is that he grew up, he couldn't speak until he was about 7 years old. He had a really bad speech impediment, and nobody could understand what he was saying. He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember that now at all. But it was really hard for him, like when he was really little. And they made him a quarterback when he was like 7, and the coach told him, he was like, the kid's got to understand what you're saying. Like, you've got to work harder on your speech. And so it went from 10 minutes a day to like an hour a day. And it got better and better and better. And it's funny he doesn't remember it now, but it was like one of those like crying, like everyday type thing. And then he struggled in school until he was like in 5th grade with school. And then we found out that he was like my wife found out through a test outside of the school, because the school system sucks, that he was severely dyslexic.
Oh, shit.
And so, which happens a lot with high level athletes, I guess, that especially in football, from what I've been told, the reason that they're so good at football is because it's X's and O's, and it's like math. Like everything's like math. It's not like English. So it's like, this guy goes here, 1 + 1 = you're dead. And so there's a lot of, and so we got him a tutor and stuff like that, and now he makes straight A's. But I think that was kind of humbling for him coming up, like struggling with school and all that. And it just, I don't know, man. I'm lucky with him, and like now it's like he has a cell phone, and he sets his personal training appointments. He works with his linebacker coach. He did his physical therapy when he blew his leg out. He's the one doing everything. I get a lot of credit for him, which I think is hilarious, because like people are like, oh, Seth lives his dreams through his kid. I never dreamed to be a football player. When I was in 7th grade, I was 13 years old. I was 85 pounds. He's 13 years old. He weighs 135 pounds. He weighs 50 pounds more than I did when I was in 7th grade, and I was terrible at football. Like I was afraid to hit people.
Yeah. Well, you're 85 pounds, man.
I didn't figure out in football that the harder you hit someone, the less it hurts you.
Right.
I didn't figure that out. So I would just get crushed by all these people because I was little and it hurt. I hated football, man. I fucking hated it. And he loves it, and I'm excited to see what happens for him. Like, he's got the option to go to Valor, but I think he's going to wind up at Cherry Creek, and then he's going to play at Creek with his current teammate. They're competing for the national championship in middle school football here pretty soon, and they'll probably win that, and I'm sure they'll win a bunch of state titles, and he'll go on to college and then the NFL. That's the plan. But to answer the question about keeping him humble, that's all on him. I mean, he knows how great he is, and but he still looks for approval, which is cute, He's still like, what was your favorite thing I did today? He's still a little kid. Like, I mean, he's only 13, but like, he's still my baby. You know what I mean? He's always going to be my little baby. He's always going to be that little kid with the mohawk that walked into 24 Hour Fitness and would walk back to the candy machine and get his Skittles. Like, that's what he's always going to be, and he still has that sweetness to him. I don't know if he'll always have it, but right now he does. And I think a lot of it probably happens because he's not really into girls yet. So I think that might ruin him.
Girls ruin a lot.
That could ruin him, So, but I don't know. Like I said, he's made all the right decisions. So I kind of leave stuff up to him, and until he disappoints me or does something that's like.
Well, and he's going to screw up at some point.
He's going to screw. Everybody screws up at some point, but he learns from his mistakes, and I'm lucky, and it's the same with my 11-year-old. He doesn't have the gifts that God gave Carter of size and strength and all that, and they don't even play the same sports. But he has the gift of being the most caring child in the entire world, and he's super sweet, and he's wicked smart, And so, like, it's always funny. We always say we can see Carter playing in the NFL on Sunday and Gabe in the booth, like, being the commentator. You know what I mean? Because he's like a stats whiz. Yeah. Like, he memorizes everything. Yeah. So it's like, it's super cool. They're very different. And I'm super proud of both of them. They're great kids.
Well, I think it's super important, and how you're approaching this with him is he's making his own decisions. He's the one hiring or scheduling the training and the workouts and everything like that, because you're not pushing him to do it.
Well, I had to when he was little.
Yeah.
And I kept telling him, like, this stuff will pay off for you. But also, I never coached him. And I think that's a huge mistake that parents make. I don't think you should ever coach your kids, because it was a big problem with me and my father, and then with it's like if your coach is a dickhead to you at football practice, you want someone to complain to, just to hear you complain. And if you got to get in the car with the same fucking person, like that sucks. Like you got no one to talk to.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you complain to your mom or your sister, and they're going to be on their side. Like they're not going to hear you out. I think it's always good to find really good coaches to put your kids with. That's not you. And it's even funny, like when he plays in the game, like the way I interact with him, I'd be like, if he's like something's wrong, I'll like go up to him and I'll be like, what are you seeing out there? And he'll like break it down for me. I act like I have no idea what's going on, but I played Madden my whole life, so I know,
what's going
about
on.
football.
Yeah.
I understand all the coverages. I know like all the moves. I know hit stick, spin move is B. Like I got football down, but it's always fun to me. I always kind of like to play it down. Like I don't know what's going on and have him explain it to me, but like. When he was really little, I used to freak out all the time at like even like soccer games, like, what I mean? Like, and now it's just like, I just sit back and watch them. As long as they give 100%, like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. I don't care if they win, lose, if they suck, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, who cares? As long as they're trying their best, it's all you can really ask for in your kids and everything that they do.
Right.
And I do feel like you have to treat every single one of your kids uniquely and differently. Everyone always says that, like, oh, you got to treat them the same. It's like, I can't treat my kids the same because they're fucking worlds apart. Yeah. They're completely different people. It's like, if I was like, it's hard. I'm not even hard on it, but if I rode Gabriel like I rode Carter, like it would make no fucking sense. They're not into the same thing. Mm-hmm. I treat them completely different, but I mean, I love both of them, and I do what I can to get the most out of each of them, and still at the same time allow them continue to be children. That's one thing I worry about all the time is, my childhood was taken away really young when my mom passed away when I was 6. And my dad, I remember that night telling me, like, you have to grow up now. And that was like the end of my childhood. I was 6 years old. And I don't want that for my kids. I don't want them to ever have to grow up. Like, I want it to just naturally happen. Mm-hmm. Continue, play your fucking video games. Play your Fortnite. Play around on Snapchat. And be a kid. Be a kid. Like my son was like, hey, I want to come work for you this summer. And I was like, no, that ain't going to work, dude. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, look, man, when you get to high school, like, he don't need money. I give him money. He earns money, around the house. Like this summer, we cleaned out our entire house of like 20 tons of toys, probably. Just threw it all out, Mm-hmm. Like I know I should have donated it, whatever. But I just got a dumpster, and I paid. They wound up each making like a G, like each, because it was like literally like 50 hours of work, right? And so they cleaned the house out, and I gave him $1,000, and he went and bought a $700 chain. But I was like, that's the thing that kids should do. That's what you should do with it. Don't leave it in the bank. You know what I mean? Don't let it accrue interest. Like, go out there and spend stuff. Buy what you want, My youngest, like, he put his into a TV and a PS4 or VR for his room. It's like, hell yeah, man. Go do it. It's your money. Do whatever you want with it. Yeah, you earned it. You worked hard for it. Yeah. And, but he was like, yeah, I want to come work this summer. Like, how much, what do you think? And I'm like, I want you to wait at least till you're in high school. He's like, why? I was like, because I want you to go to the pool. I want you to play video games. I want you to stay up late at night and have no responsibility, because eventually, like, especially when he gets to high school football is no joke. That's a job. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have that job for 8 years till he's done with college of studying. If he wants to be that successful. So it's like, I want my kids to be kids as long as I can keep them that way.
Absolutely, man. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
What we got?
You've kind of answered this with your last answer, but it said, I have 2 older brothers who were bigger and better athletes than me growing up, and it made me super competitive. Having 2 boys active in sports, how do you keep healthy competition and equal enthusiasm and support both of them? But you kind of answered that.
I put them in completely different sports. I learned in the beginning, I had him playing the exact same thing, and by the time that by the time I don't want to call him my middle child, by the time Gabriel was 7 and Carter was 9, it was obvious to me that it's worlds apart, and it's not an effort thing. It's a God-given gift thing of one being a giant and one not being a giant, and it's just one of those things where it was causing some problems where Gabe would be really sad because Carter is, Gabe was the center on the team and Carter was scoring 30 touchdowns on his team. And so I kind of pushed him out of those sports, but he kind of chose on his own to do different sports. And, like he does jujitsu, and, at Easton and Centennial, they just have an incredible kids program. They're really good about building confidence. And it's not just like jujitsu, like it's like a full character building program. And he loves it, and I would never let Carter do jujitsu because I want Gabe to have his own thing. Would Carter would probably be better than him instantly because of the athletic ability. Just, he's a freak of nature, but I want Gabe to have that. That's for him. And yeah, like this weekend, they have a game at the same time. Carter's got a football game. Gabe's got a soccer game. Last week I went to Carter's game. This week I go to Gabe's game, because it doesn't matter like which sport they do or whatever it is, like I said, just because, one kid is better than the other at something, the other kid's going to be better than him at something else just because it's not football. You know what I mean? You just encourage them. And I believe I had to separate them. Like, to me, it was not even a question because it was causing problems. And now it's like we put a lot into Gabe's playing soccer and jiu-jitsu, and Carter plays football and basketball. And that's how we do it. Just do these sports, you do these sports. You both have your own successes. You cannot compare each other to each other. Like, done.
Yeah, that's smart,
you know what I mean?
Nice.
It's just it makes it easier.
Yeah.
It's probably the easy way out, but that's what I did.
Nah, man, I think it's super smart, man. That way they're not competing against themselves in the same sport.
Well, yeah,
and they will. That's just natural, man. Like boys, especially boys, they're going to compete against each other no matter what they're doing. But
it helps that one of them's like 4'6" and the other one's like 5'8", though.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like a twin competition. Like one of them is literally a foot taller.
Yeah.
And they're only one grade apart, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, well, I mean, of course he's going to be better than you in basketball. He's a foot taller than you,
right.
But I think Gabe realizes that, and Gabe, is pretty, self-aware of who he is and stuff like that, and we support him in everything that he does just as much as we support Carter.
Right on. Any other questions come across?
No. Let me just check Instagram quick.
Cool. Well, what do we got to look forward to, man? What do you got in the works? Anything you can leak out here on the BCE?
Well, I mean, we just got signed. We're doing the ADCC in 2021.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal because it's like I was telling you before, it's the Olympics of our sport. So, I mean, It doesn't get any bigger than that. So right now we're venue hunting all over the United States, trying to find the perfect fit for the event. And that's a lot. And then, like I said, I have a show almost every single weekend. So for the rest of the year, I've got Philly, Chicago, Denver, San Francisco, Hawaii, and Fresno, and then I get to take a month off. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
That month off.
And it's funny. It's funny too. It's like I had to cancel a show this week, and people are like, "Oh, I took a vacation or whatever." It's like, no, it's a catch-up week. Like, I'm using it to catch up on work. Like, that's what it's for. Like, people don't understand that aren't in the business world. It's like, I take 1 week, usually a year, where I don't do anything. Like, completely decompress and don't work. We usually go out of the country or something like that. And then I don't work on Thanksgiving, and I don't work on Christmas.
Right.
Every other day.
It's work.
I work. I don't work during the firework time of 4th of July. I literally will work until it gets dark in the market I'm working, and then I'll stop.
And watch fireworks.
Yeah, I love fireworks. We go to my lawyer's house. We have like this crazy party that we have every year, and then it's really fun. They shoot bottle rockets at each other with the shields. Yeah,
bottle rocket fights.
Hilarious.
I'm a redneck from Nebraska, man.
Yeah, I'm from Texas, man. So we're like super trashy.
Yeah,
and it's like a bunch of lawyers and stuff, and they're all just like trash bags. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And and so, but other than that, it's like Memorial Day, Labor Day. Memorial Day, that's like start working around like 11 a.m. Labor Day is not really a holiday, so it's like, it's literally like those days where everybody else is like, oh, I'm go drink all day and do this. Like, I'm working until you're drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just how it is, and that's how you got to be. You just got to go 24/7. It never stops.
There's no checking out, man.
There's not.
You don't check out.
Yeah, you can't. Because if you're not working, then someone else is.
That's right. Yeah, and there's always someone trying to copycat you.
Yeah. I mean, everybody always says there's someone better than you at everything. I don't believe that. I believe that I'm the best there is at what I do, but I have to stay there. it's funny. We have this superstar in grappling named Gordon Ryan, and he's he's the best in the world, and he knows it. And he's 24 years old, and he talks a lot of shit, and he backs it up. And he has a lot of people hate him. And they don't know him. Like, he's amazing. He's a great fucking kid. But a lot of people hate him and talk a lot of shit online because of what he says.
Yeah.
But everything he says is backed up. He's like, I'm going to do this to this guy. I'm going to do this to this guy. And he goes out and does it. And so, like, he did this interview, and they were like, what do you have to say to all your haters? He was like, fuck you losers. I'm the best to ever do it, baby. I was just like, if you're going to work that hard and you're going to be the best at it, like, he's got to stay up because everybody wants to watch him fail.
Which is maybe part of his success, and he knows what he's doing to himself.
That's how I feel, too. It's like,
you know
people, especially bottom dwellers, you know, and Kmart people, they look at you as
Kmart people are starting to go to Walmart now.
Yeah,
so.
No, they're jealous. They want to see you fail. Like there's very few people I feel like actually want to watch other people succeed. Like, they want people to be on their level or below them.
Yep.
And so, no matter what, you have people that want to watch you burn. You know, so it's just like I'm always focused on not giving people that opportunity to shit on me. You know, and then when they do, I call them out on it. You know, and just try to always make sure I'm staying on top of the line. You know, have you seen that meme? Where it's like people see an entrepreneur riding into town on a lion, and they're like, "Oh, that guy, he's the king. Look at him. You know, he runs the show." And the entrepreneur's on the lion, just thinking, "Fuck, I better not fall off and get eaten alive."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's
so it's
always
like,
that pressure.
Yeah, there's always that pressure of staying and being the best at something, and when you have all these haters who just want to watch you fail. To me, it's more motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And fear can be fear of failure, or fear of falling off the lion. Can either be super motivational or paralyze you. It just depends on how much fear you have, that level.
I get both.
For me, it's motivation as fuck.
Sometimes it is, and then sometimes it's paralyzing.
Yeah.
I go through pretty bad depression, and I go up and down. Like, I'm pretty up and down. I'm like super heavily medicated, and sometimes like things can be awesome, and like I'm just waiting for it to go bad, and sometimes things are like super bad, and I just completely shut down. And I'll just like sleep for like 2 hours just to get out of my head. And a lot of people don't see that stuff. They don't know. Like, they think, oh, you know, like after ADCC, people like my business partner on the event, and like all the fighters were all partying. There was like free alcohol and like going crazy. And me and my other partner were literally sitting at the show afterwards, once everybody left, in silence, just sitting there for an hour, just breathing.
Yeah.
Just to decompress from the stress, you know? And I think a lot of people don't see the dark side of entrepreneurship, you know, because
it's so bipolar.
Well,
man.
you have to make your own money, you know? Like, motherfuckers that work at McDonald's, they get a paycheck. They know it's coming.
That's right.
I don't know if I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
I've got to make my own money, and I've got, you know, entire family and 12 other people that I got to worry about, you know, making money and all this stuff, and it's pretty paralyzing, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know if it's fear of failure, if it's more of fear of staying the course, that you can't stay it, you know. And that's like, it cripples me, man. Like, I go through some dark shit in my head. And then, you know, the events are like my high point, and then it like crashes again. And that's one of the reasons I do so many events, because the
high point.
The downtime kills me.
Yeah.
Like, when you have to think is like what crushes me, because during the show I have no time to think.
Right.
I'm DJing and I'm doing all that stuff, and like everything's cool, and then afterwards it's just like,
yeah,
you know. So it's something I'm working on, but it's definitely something I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through. There's a massive amount of anxiety and depression.
Absolutely.
You know, I think if you look at the amount of people that take Lexapro and Xanax, they're probably own their own business more than people that don't.
If you do that correlation between business owners and antidepressant, yeah, I bet you it's pretty high.
I mean, it is what it is. It's the highs and the lows. It's the life of an entrepreneur, like you said, it's completely manic and it's completely bipolar, because but you got to learn. I always tell you, you got to learn to ride the wave. You know, it's like, if things don't get super excited when things get really good, and don't get super pissed or horrible when things get really bad, because it's always going to be there. If you put the work into it, you're always going to be okay in the end. But it's hard. It's hard to like consistently remember that, you know. And people always ask me that, like, oh, what's your goal with every show? How much you trying to make? And my analogy is a baseball analogy. It's like, I'm never trying to hit a fucking home run. Like, I'm just trying to hit singles.
Yeah.
Like, every single week, I just don't want to fucking strike out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be Babe Ruth. I don't want to have the most strikeouts and the most home runs. I don't want to be Cal Ripken Jr. I just want to get on base.
That's right.
I'm showing my age now. But
Well, and so entrepreneurship being bipolar, like, it's not, for me, it's not even month to month. Like, if you think long term, that helps out a lot. Like, okay, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur for the next 40 years of my life. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
In the next 40 years, like, I'm gonna have so many ups and downs, but like for me, it could be hour to hour.
it's hour to hour. It's minute to minute. It's a message. When I leave this, I'm gonna get a message on my phone that's gonna probably put me in fucking hell.
Right.
And then I'm gonna work through it, and in 2 hours I'll be okay again. Yeah. That's literally what it's like. Every message you get, every email you get, can be a positive or negative of what's going to set the rest of your day. One of my things is, like, I call it being in the groove, like when I'm matchmaking, because I do 40 matches per show. That's dealing with 80 fighters per event, right?
Yeah,
and I can get it done in a day if I get in a groove. But if something happens and pulls me out of it, it could take me 2 weeks. Because it's like, okay, now I'm distracted, and now by the time I get back to it, I'm not into it. And it's like, I literally, like, I get in this, like fucking flow. Yeah. And I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, shit, I got to go fucking take my kid to fucking soccer practice. And then I'll come home, and it's like 4 hours later, and I'm just like staring at my computer, and I'm just like, fuck this, I don't feel like doing it now. Yeah. And it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, getting in the groove and staying in the groove is like the most important thing for me, and it's really fucking hard.
Super hard, man. Yeah. Especially when you're hour to hour bipolar and entrepreneurship, man.
That's how it is. We're all crazy. You know, if we weren't crazy, maybe we aren't crazy. Maybe we're the sane ones, and the crazy people are the ones that work for other people and fucking wait for people to tell them what to do and tell them how much they're worth. Who knows?
Who knows?
You know,
yeah.
I haven't seen Joker yet, but I hear that movie will tell me if I'm crazy or not.
Really? I haven't seen it either.
I just like, I think the movie's a lot about the duality of man, and I think that you know, kind of like Fight Club, you know, just like who really is the crazy ones?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is it the people that are chasing after something, or the people that play it safe? You know,
I don't know, man. Like, I feel crazy as hell a lot.
I don't know either. No, I don't know either. Like, is the person that doesn't need depression medication, is that the crazy one, or is it the person that recognizes, like, I'm fucked up, I need help? Is which one is it? You know what I mean? And because I honestly feel like that's how it is. There's like two types of people. There's like the people that fucking want to do their own thing and lead their own path and chase their own shit, and then there's the people that are like, I'm fine being told what to do. You know, whatever. You know,
I think the people that are crazy are like, for me, how I look at it is like, when I start feeling, especially the manics and the depression and like everything's fucking up and down, like, I'm born this way. I'm born an entrepreneur. I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, if I went to work for someone right now, 9 to 5, I would die. We'd be fucked.
I got offered to be the president of UFC Gym when it first opened.
Yeah. And
it was right after I got let go of 24 Fitness. And then I turned it down because it was in California and I had kids out here and it wasn't going to work. Had I been out here, I probably would have taken it. But then I got offered to be the manager at that club downtown, which is now a True Fit. It was called Forza back in the day. Mm-hmm. They offered me to run that. And I thought about it and I was like, I need to know if I can do something on my own. Like, if I put all of it into it. So I turned it down. And I've been offered a few different, mainly gym stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, people from the past, from my past, opening up franchises and asking me to run. And it's just like, I'll think about it. Not now. I haven't thought about this in years, but I used to think about it for like a couple minutes, and I just like, fuck that. I got anxiety driving into this parking lot.
Because you do this 24-hour fitness. Yeah.
Yeah. I have trouble working out at 24-hour fitness. I go to Prestige because I never worked there.
Yeah.
I have a membership for 24-hour fitness that I sold myself, and I pay $20 a year, $49 a year, something like that. Yeah. And I probably go there once a year because I get anxiety going in there. I go in there, and the first thing I said, we drove past there, I was like, look, there's signs fucked up. That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, signs fucked up. There's trash on the fucking sideways. That sign's from last month. Like, I immediately wanted to go in there and start firing people, you know? And it's just like, that's just how it is. It's just like, I can't let go. Like, the place causes so much fucking anxiety, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I go to a completely different gym, or I go to Landau's or something like that, you know, and it's just like, I can't let it go. It's weird.
Yeah. Man, I get it though. Like I said, yeah, there's no way. And I just remind myself, this is who I am. Yeah. The people I think are crazy are the people that are not born entrepreneurs, think they want to be an entrepreneur and try to be an entrepreneur. I think that's fucking nuts. Because if I wasn't born this way, I don't know if I would do it. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty fucking cush to go work for someone else, check out, say this is how much money I'm going to make guaranteed every, like, if I wasn't born this way, that seems pretty attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it just is. So.
That's how it was for me for a long time. You know, I was like, I loved working there. You know, I was like, every 2 weeks I'm going to get a $10,000 check.
Yeah.
It's fucking great feeling in the world.
Yeah.
You know, but eventually, like, I get tired of being told what to do. You know, that's what killed me there. Honestly, that's what killed me there is like they switched ownership and they were like, oh, these people are in. And remember we used to have like the ice hockey in the gym there. Like I had the USA versus Russia, or I had like a foosball table, or I had ping pong. I always had like some type of gaming thing. And I know it's like, it sounds stupid, but like when you're a salesperson and you're on the phone 9 hours a day, to get up for 5 minutes and play a fucking hockey game real quick, it like, you know, motion creates emotion. You know what I mean? And like keep you moving around. First thing they did was they ordered everybody to remove their gaming systems. It was the first thing the new people did. I was like, fuck these people. And I was out. That was it. That's all it took.
You took away my air hockey. I'm out of here.
I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they fucking told me I had to get rid of my gaming systems. And I was like, fuck this. I'm done. I don't want to work here anymore. And that was like the beginning of the end for me, because I was like, I don't want to work for a company that fucking doesn't let me have any fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I used to work with Magic Johnson and shit like that, like, dude, it was so fun. And then like all of them left, and it turned so corporate. And I do think that, like you just said, the people that aren't born this way, they should definitely at least, I think you should have like a million different jobs. I don't think you should ever just like I've only had one job in my entire life.
No shit.
I've only worked, no, I'm sorry. I got fired from Chili's after 2 weeks because of Michael Jordan. It was game 6 against Utah, and there was 10 seconds left. And the boss was like, hey, you need to go clean table 23. And I was like, there's 10 seconds left. And I was like, just let me watch it. And he was like, go clean the fucking table. I was like, fuck you, I quit. And then stayed
there and watched the 10 seconds.
I watched it 10 seconds, and I got my shit, and I fucking left. You know what I mean? I saw the shot when he crossed over Byron Russell.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy I saw that live. I regret nothing, you know? And I saw the most, you know, iconic Jordan shot of all time. And I would have missed it if I would have listened to that guy. And then I started working for 24 Fitness when I was 16 years old, and I literally is the only job I have ever had. The only time I've ever worked for somebody else in my entire life was that company.
Yeah.
And I just think that I don't think you should ever try to have a career. I think you should get into something and have a job, do it for a little bit, pick what you like out of it, and then once you're tired and you're not motivated, go do something else. One of my biggest rules in life, especially in business, is that if I'm doing anything and the only reason I'm doing it is to make money, then I'm going to stop doing it.
Stop. Yeah.
Like, I'll stop. I just won't do it anymore. That's what happened with the MMA, and that's what happened with the concert. So I was like, I only care about the money end of this. I do not care at all about the actual, you know, the fun, the drive, or anything like that. You can quit. Fuck it. Move on to the next thing. Absolutely. And I'm having fun right now. I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but it'll be the same thing. You know, Harry Rio always jokes with me. He was like, well, you only got 2 years left. Because, like, with me, it was always 5 years at a time. 5 years. He's like, you always got something for 5. I own my tattoo shop for 5 years. I ran this or that for 5 years, and I move on, you know? Yeah. He's like, so you got like a year and a half left. He messaged me a couple days. He's like, you know, like 18 months left. What's your next step? It's like, shut up, man. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy right now. I'm happy with the way the business is going. But if it gets to that point, I'll fucking walk away. I'll just shut it down. I won't even sell it. I'll just disappear.
Just dissolve it.
Disappear, and then figure out the next thing I'm going to do.
Yeah, man. And that's the way you're wired, man. No matter what you do, you're going to be successful at.
You have to. Yeah. Just got to work hard.
So where can these people find your stuff, man?
Just follow us on Instagram at F2W BJJ.com. I'm sorry, F2WBJJ. Or mine is Seth Daniels, F2W. Or, just one of those two. And I post a lot of inappropriate stuff, not like nudes or anything like that. You don't want to see that. But like yesterday, I found a plate that said "Eat a bag of dicks" on it, and I thought that was an amazing post. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of stuff like that. If you want to see funny posts of me re-trolling trolls, that's always a good thing. I'm very good at bullying trolls. I enjoy it very much. Sometimes way too much, and I burn way too many hours of my day
messing with trolls.
People. I hate them. I hate them so fucking much.
Yeah.
I hate keyboard warriors. Mm-hmm. And they talk in my world, they're bad. Because like they talk shit to fighters, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna fuck you up.
And then what's gonna happen?
Like, yeah, but then they disappear.
Yeah.
You know, they'll talk shit, and then you're like, okay, dude, here's my locations. Like, what's up? And then they fucking disappear. You know what I mean? But like, there's just a lot of people out there, man. There's so much fucking online hate for people that are successful in any aspect. And I get so much of it, you know, because I'm kind of a jackass and I deserve it. But it's just fun. It's fun to re-troll people.
Yeah.
So if people enjoy watching other people get humiliated, definitely follow me.
Check him out. Yeah. I remember one of my comments on one of my YouTube videos. Dude literally just said, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. So if
hey,
you
thanks for the comment.
yeah, like that is a comment. Someone says like, "Go fuck yourself." I said, "I'm too busy fucking your mom." That would have been my response.
You get into that too, huh?
And then I would have like kept going, and then been like, found out who his wife was, and then like flirted with his wife, and then screenshotted it and posted it. I'm just kidding. I don't go that deep. I don't go that deep. I'm joking right now. I'm joking.
You know,
no. But I mean, like,
We'll
I'll usually like. My favorite thing to do with trolls is to like screenshot their stuff and then like publicly call them out and then post their screenshot and then all my friends will fucking kill people. They'll just like murder them online. Like I have this guy and it's become a joke now, but every time I post something and I'm in it, he'll be like, "You're very unprofessional." And then all my friends will tag him and be like, "You're very unprofessional." Just be like, boom, like hundreds of people just picking on this guy. And his like following's gone up a ton because like so many people just pick on him.
Yeah,
I don't even know who it is. I have no idea who it is. It's just some guy that fucking always calls me unprofessional. Because I think he said it one time and I told him to eat a dick. And then he like said something about, "Well, you're the CEO of a company and you shouldn't talk like that." And I was like, because I'm the CEO, I can talk however I want. And like I said, eat a fucking dick. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, and that's one of the things too. I'll close on this. One of the best things about entrepreneurship, this is one of my favorite stories. I had this little kid that fought on my show. And I'm going to say this is in Chicago. And like, I'm constantly wearing pajamas when it's cold. Whatever,
sure.
Right? Yeah. And I've got like some cool Star Wars ones, you know. So I mean, like, fuck it, like, you know, you don't like pajamas, fuck you. What's wrong with you? You know, that's why I don't like skinny people. It's like, what, you don't eat food? You know, what the fuck's wrong with you? You ever had a donut? They're fucking delicious. No, but so his dad was like, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay. You're in pajamas." And I was like, "No, it's cool." I brought the kid over. I was like, "When you own your own business, you can wear whatever the fuck you want." He was like, he was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And his dad was like, "Never mind." I was like, "Cool." But no, that's what I'm saying. It's like you can be whoever you want. That's the best thing,
man.
you know.
I wear the same shit every day.
Yeah.
Either a public shirt and shorts, or that's all I wear.
Yeah, some of the most professional people. My partner from last weekend is worth. I don't even know what he's worth. By judging by the way his girlfriend looks, I'd say hundreds of millions. Right? She's got 4 million followers on Instagram, so
Jeez.
He's doing fine. But you would not know he's worth anything, dude. T-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've always found that the people that are the most successful, in my world at least, are the ones that don't look like it, that are underneath the surface. Yeah. I had a friend yesterday. He was telling me about this conversation he had with this guy that was like telling him how many pay-per-views they did and all this and all that. And I was like, that's like the high school rule of threes. When anyone ever brags to you about how much money they have, you know, it's like when you used to brag about how many girls you sleep with.
Yeah, you don't have
For dudes, you divide it by 3, right? Like, oh, I fucked like 9 girls. It's like, no, you've had sex with 2, and you know, one of them was your cousin.
Right.
But it's like it's the rule of 3 with business bragging.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, we're so successful. We did this, we did that. Divided by 3, that's probably the real number. Then you see a dude that, you know, looks like me. He's kind of bummy. You know, could be, you know, whatever. They probably have at least 3 times worth what you think they have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would never tell anybody like how much money I make or how successful I am. I will always try to look like a bum so people don't ask me for shit. And it's nobody's fucking business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I asked you, you know, how many stores you had, you know, and you said 8, I immediately did not think to ask you how much money do you make off those stores, but people do that shit.
People do. Yeah.
And if someone was to ask, if I was you and someone was like, how much money did you make off that shit? I'm like, oh man, things are so down right now. I'm just fucking getting killed. People ask me that about my business all the time. They're like, oh, you had 1,000 people here. You must have made $12 million. It's like, yeah, but the show cost fucking $12 million one. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like that's the life I like to portray. Is like, I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm, because I don't live that way. You know what I mean? I don't want people to think that I take their money and buy stupid shit with it or anything like that. I'm just grinding and trying to pay the bills. You know what I mean?
And
I can't stand motherfuckers like that do that shit though. That like flaunt because it's all fake.
Front,
it's all fake. It's always fake. Guarantee you that Rolex put you out $10,000 and you wish you didn't spend it on.
And
that.
you borrowed money to get it.
Yeah, guarantee it's on a credit card. Guarantee you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when they first started business.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's just one of the things. Like, always be humble about what you have, and keep your circle very tight. Watch out because there's fucking snakes everywhere, always trying to infiltrate. So always keep a very close group of people and keep everybody else at a distance. Yeah, that's what I always do.
And I need like nothing, man. Like I don't buy clothes. I wear Fit Republic shirts because we print them for the store. I need absolutely fucking nothing. I got this
for free.
Yeah. And
then I found these pants at my show. I stole these socks from my kid. I paid for these sandals. I put $19 into this outfit today.
Yeah. And, so by not needing anything in the lifestyle,
it makes it easier.
You can put that money back into business, man, and create something big. But when you need the Rolex, you need the night,
Yeah, you don't need any of it.
You don't need that shit. All right.
Thanks,
Seth, man. I really appreciate you coming on, dude.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Yeah. It's good to see you. Thank you, Al, for listening to me. I know it goes long.
This is the Ask the BCE Show, episode 40. If you like this content, you want to follow Seth, you should follow him. He's a good dude. And subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you can see the next guest that comes on.
Thanks so much for having me, man. It was fun. It's good to see you.